Hi, I'm Meier. I'm a school counselor at Cheney Middle School for the West Fargo Public School District, and today I'm going to talk with you about a few different things. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about virtual counseling. We're going to talk about some resources that students can use for their well-being while they're at home. We're going to talk also about some staff resources while we know our teachers are hard at work preparing for this online learning. And then we're also going to talk about just different ways that we can promote wellness and goodness throughout our community. So first, let's talk a little bit about what virtual counseling looks like. So as counselors, we meet with students for various reasons. Typically we see students one-on-one when they've got a problem, maybe as a group if they're having some peer conflicts. We see students in the classroom, and then we see students also just throughout the day. And so virtual counseling is a little different in the way we're going to tackle this as a district is by allowing counselors to have the opportunity still to meet with their students face-to-face. But, as in a virtual world, we're going to be using a different platform. So we're going to be using what's called Microsoft Teams, and that's what our teachers are using as well to connect with students. And the way this is going to work is that students would be able to request a time to visit with their counselor. Most of our counselors, K-12, have set up virtual office hours, which means if a student is having a concern, they need support in an area, just like they would at school, they're able to connect with their counselor, which is a really great resource, especially now during this time, when some students might be having some worries or some fears or some anxieties about this transition. So one way that we're helping to ease that is to still provide that same level of support. Those office hours look different for our younger students versus our very much older students, but the best way to communicate and connect with your counselor is to look at the website for the school that you attend and then look on that counseling page, because there's going to be some resources for the office hours for your counselor and also the best way to connect with them. So that's one way that we're helping with our virtual counseling. And so I'm going to ask that you as parents or students who are watching this, reach out to your counselors. If you need help and support during this time, we're still here to support you, and we miss seeing you face to face. So we would love to have that chance to be able to chat with you and just see how you're doing on your day, your very first day of school today. Okay, the second thing we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk a little bit about student wellness. So we know right now this is an unprecedented time. It's very different from anything we're ever used to, right? We are human beings and we like to connect socially with people. We like to see people face to face. So as students, it's very important that you are staying connected. We know you're going to be on your devices because we know that's the delivery model for our curriculum. However, we do want you to still stay connected with your friends. So whatever that might be, maybe it's setting up a Zoom meeting during the day to chat about what were you doing last night, or maybe it's to get outside and get some fresh air. Whatever those activities are, we want you to continue doing those because those fun activities that you do help to kind of uplift your mood a little bit. I have a couple different ideas for you to do as well. There is a website called Big Life Journal, and it has lots of very cool free printables, especially now when we're all kind of stuck at home. They've got some really cool, great ideas, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. One of them is things you could do with a sibling. So a lot of you are stuck at home, and you're stuck with your brothers and sisters, right? And whether you want to be or not, there might be some fun activities that you can do. So one of the printables that this has is kind of a packet of at-home things, and they have different things. So they've got, I'm bored, what can I do? Things I can do with a sibling. Okay? They have some indoor games and activities to get kids moving. Some of those things might be create an obstacle course in your house. Maybe you play The Floor is Lava, or play a cleanup game, something like that. They've got about 3 pages worth of different things you could do. And then they've got some things you can do, indoor activities for teens. So this is a great resource too, and this comes with this free printable when you sign up. And this has different things, like maybe you draw a cartoon or a comic strip, or you're gonna write a poem or a song, or make a music video, fix something that's broken, bake cookies, lots and lots of different things, okay? Put together time capsule. That could be a really fun thing, especially now with all the different things that are going on. And then they also have indoor activities for teens with a sibling. So playing a board game, cook together, maybe you read to each other, or hold an art show. Something fun, something different. We have to be kind of creative. Another thing that can be kind of fun to do is thinking about throughout the day all the different things you've done. There's some great positives and sometimes negatives. But right now, during this time, what we want to focus on are those good things, because that helps uplift our mood a little bit. So another principle that they have is called the Good Night Glowing Cube. And this is just a cube that you print out. I'll show you what it looks like when you print it out. Just looks like this, and it's going to have some cutout lines on it so that you can kind of follow along with the directions. And it has lots of different prompts on it for right before you go to bed. Like, what would make tomorrow great? Or what did you work hard at today? Or what was the best part of your day? Or how were you kind today? What did you learn? So this would be a good conversation piece. If you're an older student who has younger siblings, you could do this before bedtime. If you are a parent and you've got lots of kids at home, they could all take a turn, maybe rolling the cube and then answering those questions. So those are some kind of fun activities to do while we're all stuck at home in this new learning environment. For staff wellness, we know our teachers are working very hard. They have completely flipped an educational system from being face-to-face and in a classroom setting to all of a sudden now being online. And so this is a very different time for our educators, and something that maybe they weren't accustomed to right away, but we're all learning. So for staff, what I want to say is allow yourself the time and the patience to recognize it's okay. We are all learning, we're all in this together, and we're all going to get through it together. For our staff, things that we want to do is we want to give some shout outs or some Cheney cheers to our staff who are working really hard. A lot of our staff have been putting in extra time and extra hours to get the curriculum ready for their students, and we want to be mindful for their capacity also and have some compassion for the hard work that they're doing while probably being at home and helping their own families and their own kids and everything else. So it's a big juggle for all of us, but we're all working together and working hard, and the end goal, of course, is to support staff and students while we're doing this. And for you parents out there, just a few tips on how to home educate. Just like when your kids were going to school, leaving your house, going to a building, learning, interacting, and coming home, we love routines. Kids love routines. They do so well when there's a set schedule and a routine. And I know right now our routines have been totally shook, right? But I think one thing to remember is that kids at this age, teenage years, need a lot of sleep. They need more sleep than we really kind of recognize. Between 9 to 12 hours would be a good chunk of time for kids to be getting enough rest. So one thing to keep in mind is that even though we're not technically going to school, we're still learning that next day. And to learn, we need to get a good night's rest because that helps us to be our best selves. So make sure your kids are going to bed at a great time. Make sure that they've got kind of a dedicated study space. And we know everybody's home life is different, and we know right now maybe lots of parents are working from home or lots of siblings are at home. Find a space that works best for them and make sure that they have kind of an organizational system. Maybe it's setting up a board with your family that says what needs to get done today, what has been done already, and maybe what's due later on in the week. When you have multiple kids and you have multiple classes that they're involved in, it's a way to keep organized, and it's a way to keep them kind of ready to learn and ready to know what's coming next. Your teachers are providing that education. So as a parent, just recognize your role again. You are there to support, right? You are there to help, and you're there to remind and to guide. But your teachers at the school, they're still educating your students. So take a breath, right? And know it's okay. We're going to get through this. We've got educated teachers who are doing what they need to do to get your students up and ready to learn. Another thing to keep in mind is that because your students are going to be on their devices quite a bit, take some time to be off the device. It's good to check in with your students and see how are they doing, how are they progressing with their work, but also remind yourself that it's okay to take a break. Go for walks, go for bike rides. The weather's getting nicer outside, so spend some quality time outside with your family if you can. Do some fun inside activities. Maybe read, sit down and read with your kids for 20 minutes. They do have kind of that reading goal. Any of those things would be really great. And then the last thing to remember is that your students are kind of being inundated with lots of information on a daily basis about the pandemic. So talk to your kids about where they're getting their sources of information, or have a discussion with them about where are you finding most of your information from. Is it a reliable source? Is it from social media? And talk through some of those fears or anxieties or questions that they have, because we all have it, and we might all kind of follow down that path of an overload of information. And so just to be mindful of what your kids are consuming. There's some really great websites out there for parents. One is called commonsensemedia.org, and they talk from anything from apps to all the way to movies to books. any kinds of things that you might be interested in to learn more about that your kids might be consuming as far as digital media goes. So those are some things that we're going to work hard on this rest of the school year for your students, for our staff, and for you as parents. And so please reach out to your counselors if you need support or help in any way. And then also, check in with your students and check in with the teachers and make sure they're on the road to success, and we're going to do our best to work all together as a team. So thanks for joining in. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. The sun is shining today, and I think we're going to get some snow, so head out there today and have some fun if you can. Thank you. Bye.